This is a BMW M3 2017 model, and this was having issues. I did another video showing you the fault codes, but if you didn't see that video, here you have the fault codes that this BMW was having. Everything was related to the wastegate in the bank 2, which is the second turbo in the back. From the is 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. So it's gonna be the rear one because it's a straight 6. So the issue was then the engine didn't have much power, the car in general didn't have much power, drivetrain malfunction was popping, and I mean, there was nothing to do. I mean, the owner of the vehicle tried to delete the codes multiple times with no success, and at the end, well, the result was to replace the wastegate valve. As I said before, we're going to replace the wastegate valve to actually fix this problem. But the problem went beyond that. So for any of you that don't know what a wastegate valve is, this is the one that is right here. Here is the part number. See, this is the part number of this component. And it's very alike to all BMWs. Doesn't matter if you have a 330, 320, 530, whatever number BMW, a modern BMW with a N or S55 engine, MB58, they pretty much use the same wastegate actuator. And it is going to look like this. This is how it looks like. On N20 engines and N26 engines, this is very visible. You can see it as soon as you open the hood. But on engines like this one, like the S55s and 55s, it's very hidden inside, so you have to go and work yourself in to actually see it. But now to the problem. So the situation was we were going to replace the wastegate actuator and repair the problem, but that wasn't the case. So if we get closer to where the wastegate actuator is right here. I don't know if you can see it, but let's get a closer look. So it goes right there. So the problem is then the linkage is broken. So that's the reason why the computer was calling this issue, and the computer couldn't control the wastegate actuator. The actuator was getting controlled by the turbo, didn't notice any difference on the turbo pressure. So usually, normally, when you start the vehicle, the actuator changes position to A to B depending on the circumstances on how the engine is commanding the actuator to move the wastegate to open here and there. So the actuator was actually performing the movement, but the turbo itself wasn't actually responding to that. So the computer was noticing that the boost pressure was not actually getting released. I mean, getting sent to the exhaust instead of going to the turbo. So the computer told and the wastegate actuator was bad because as soon as the computer commanded the actuator to open the turbo, it didn't do anything. So that's the reason why we were getting these fault codes about the wastegate actuator. Now, the repair will be, in this case, to replace the linkage. The actuator is good, I know for sure, because if it's been working. So the problem is the linkage. So the linkage has to be replaced. We don't have to replace the actuator in this case, and that's a very expensive part. Costs around $700 from the dealer, from BMW. So the owner can return that and save some money. And now we are just going to replace the linkage in this case. Replacing the linkage is a pretty easy process, just to remove the nuts that are holding the actual part of the linkage and holes to the wastegate actuator, and then we just have to remove a clip, then holds the waste actuator on the turbo, the linkage on the turbo, and we release the linkage completely. It's pretty easy. One thing very important is that when you are going to replace the wastegate actuator or the linkage, very important to know how far in or how far out this is going to be, because they're buried. That will be the calibration of this actuator. So all you have to do before you remove it completely, you have to see by yourself exactly where this was located. So if you are going to remove this, let's for example, let's say it, if we are going to replace the actuator, we are going to see how far out or how far in is, and we are going to place the nut, the inside, because it has two nuts, one in, one out. So we're going to place the nut and it's in right where it was, and then we're gonna place the linkage and then the other one to tighten. If you are going to replace the linkage, that's the case of this repair, is a little bit easier because all we have to do is get both of the nuts loose and be sure not to lose the position of this one right here, so we can get the same position as it was. Probably you can, in this case, because this one is broken, I believe then this actuator was pulling the linkage too hard. So probably we can just return it a little, just maybe 1/4 of a turn or half a turn. That will be more than enough to actually release some of the tension of this linkage, because of the actuator was pulling too hard, and that could be the reason why the linkage broke. So that will be another section of the repair that we have to perform, so the linkage doesn't break again, because if we leave it in the same position, it's possible and this is going to break again, and it's gonna be another repair that we have to perform. So now that we know that it's broken, any broke from a specific position, as I say, it's possible that it's getting pulled too hard by the actuator, so we have to repair that, so that way it doesn't get that much tension when the new linkage is installed with the actuator, with the wastegate actuator. So that will be for this, the repair for this BMW M3, and just a little overlook on the repair. Probably if I have the chance to do house light to replace the linkage on this, I will do it, but that's pretty easy. It's very simple repair. It's pretty much you trying to go yourself in, your hands in, because of the room you have here is kind of limited. So all you have to do is like try to work your hands in. So I can touch it here, I can do everything here, but it's a little harder because you don't have the specific position to actually have your full movement, the what you need to actually remove the part, but it is possible. So that will be all on this BMW, and hopefully we're gonna try to continue on doing more videos, more repair videos and repairs about these vehicles, so that way you can save some money, and you can help us too by subscribing to the channel. You can send support to the channel too, looking at the description of the video, liking the channel, liking the videos that we do. That's very important. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, Francisco Mayu, too. You can see other things that I'm doing. And very important, then you stay tuned for the next videos coming soon. Thank you.